Hi guys, don't you think Google Drive is a wonderful invention? Every morning at around 7 o'clock, I get a drop of photos and videos from this time last year. Now, I've been on the platform for years, and so yesterday I got this picture. I know, yes, that's me. But that was from when I was in my early 20s, traveling, having fun, and being an all-round feisty cow, you know, as it goes, guys. Now fast forward years, and I'm sitting here talking to you, and I own two crazy toddlers, and I'm thinking about what I did well in my 20s and what I could have done a little bit better to set myself up for my 30s. Now, I know I'm quite lucky that I haven't made too many of those crazy financial mistakes that we can make in our 20s. I wasn't out partying every night, mostly because I spent a good chunk of my 20s in completing my PhD and traveling. So for me, partying was reducing my travel budget, and I wasn't negotiating that one.
Back rolls.
And that traveling bug helped me a lot. I also had a very rickety old Toyota Corolla that I sold for about £600 before I went off traveling, and I was savvy with fashion. And when in London, I lived with my parents, so my desire to see the world made me frugal out of necessity, and now I continue out of choice. But now I'm sitting here and thinking, wow, that worked out quite well, conveniently. I have no debt, no credit cards, no crazy vices, and I'm fit and healthy in body and in mind, guys. I have two humans I own and investment income that replaces my primary job. It's all quite nice and I like it. The question is, what are my best 5 financial decisions or principles that need to be seriously adopted? Well, first of all, surprise, surprise, it's a budget, and budget very specifically to spend less than I made. I actually have zero regrets about seeing the world. I loved every minute of working abroad, traveling abroad, and then traveling more with my partner when I met him. I dived with giant manta rays, I trekked jungle temples, I lived like a local on the streets of Bangkok. It was pretty awesome. And here are some good memories, especially since we can't travel now. However, I did slum it quite a bit too. In my mid-20s, I was earning money, I had academic grants, could have got credit and traveled in a bit more comfort. But first of all, I didn't want to ruin the experience, and secondly, I got the basics that debt was bad. Parents did have it quite tough. They had a business in an industry that fell apart in the 80s and 90s. Debt and paying debt seemed like a forever topic in a home, so I pretty much avoided it. I took on student loans, which are inflation linked, to supplement my income, and these have now been paid back. So in my 20s, I wasn't doing that hardcore budgeting that I do now, but it was simply to live within my means and not really take on any debt. And I wasn't a budget ninja, but I knew that saving money would then allow me to hit the road for something that I really wanted to do. Comparatively, for my husband, he was living his parallel life out there, and his main goal was to have his own place by the time he was 30. So he was putting as much aside as he could to get that bachelor's pad. But back to me, I was saving and then spending to travel, giving me those life experiences which I would like to think developed me into a better person and the person that I am today. I was investing in what we call my human capital, as they say.
Something like this.
So that brings me on to the next point, investing. Always be investing. Now, I myself didn't do a huge amount of investing in my 20s. I thought that putting money away into a savings account was the best I could do. I did buy some financial stocks after the financial crash, not knowing a huge amount about stocks, but just thought, hey, banks won't go bust, would they? Lehman Brothers, Lloyds, RBS. And I was quite naive. So with hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. And when I was in my early 20s, the S&P was trending in about 1,200. 10 years later, it was at about 2,400. So it's quite simple math, but essentially it means the S&P 500 in my 20s was averaging a return of about 7.5%. And now we bang on about investing for long periods of time to generate wealth. And I could have done so much more in that period. Really not taking any stock punts like the young fangs. But fast forward to those in their 20s today. But with the pandemic corrections, it's the best time. There's a massive opportunity to invest in the markets because they're all cheap. The UK, for instance, has been depressed for so long, and it won't continue for that long. So keep investing, keep doing it consistently, and keep it diversified, and you'll thank me in 10 years time. You're welcome. I do have a whole bunch of videos on simple investing techniques like the dollar cost averaging, which should help you think about how to invest through major corrections. Right, this next one is quite simple. Get into the habit habit of checking your bank accounts every day. Now, even now, I have friends that are literally saying to me, oh, I don't like checking my bank account. I don't like to see what's in there. Blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. Now, I started doing this pretty much when I had my card cloned when some random dude decided to buy petrol in the UK countryside while I was out gallivanting in the Far East.
Okay, and what do you want me to do about that?
Now, the bank sorted that out quite quickly, and I love First Direct for that. It's the best bank in the world, but it pissed me off.
And that pisses me off.
That this scammer got free money for a week because I literally didn't check my bank account daily. So the habit just started just because I don't want any other freeloader to take money, even if the bank is sensible enough to cover me. It's my civic duty and I shall abide. Now, since then I haven't been cloned, but I feel so much more in control knowing what I have is deployed and keeping my head above the sack. Now, when I was in my 20s, banking apps were nowhere near as sophisticated as they are now. Banks like Monzo and Starling are just epic and cool with how they help you track and budget within the app itself. In the UK, we now have open banking, which lets awesome apps like YNAB work and consolidate accounts, budgets, and even track your net worth. It is like a party. But no, it's good fun. The next point I want to make is become a minimalist, guys. When I got married, I didn't realize how little stuff I had. It was actually when I moved in with my husband that the penny dropped. So being a traveler for most of my 20s, I was used to living out of a backpack, and then getting married in my 20s and moving in with my partner, I realized I just had a suitcase. That's all. Literally, I was an accidental minimalist, though in my instance it was a necessity. It just made practical sense to keep everything light so I can move around easier. And fast forward to today, I do have much more than a suitcase, but I long for those days because it was quite simple and easy to clear up and declutter. But I do have to say it's a regular part of our routine now. We do 2 big clear outs a year, one in the summer and one in the winter, and sell what we can. It also reminds us about those stupid impulse purchases that we made, and if we can capitalize on it, great, and if not, it's just a reminder as to how money can so easily be flushed. Right now I'm umming and ahhing over my Nintendo Switch purchase, which I got at the start of lockdown and also in the middle of my maternity, because I thought, oh, you know, I'll be able to switch off like just before bed or something. But no, who was I kidding? I work, hustle, I parent, and who has the time for gaming? Anyways, decluttering is not just restricted to the physical possessions. Declutter your digital and financial life as well. Using an app like YNAB means that you can see those subscriptions and categories, so you can work on eliminating those poor spending and dead subscriptions. And having all your files and documents in a digital storage system such as Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever cloud you prefer to hang out under, saves even so much time and desk space. Honestly, we have 0 folders for things. Now I just literally have 1 physical box with documents that you have to have in physical form, like your birth certificate, car logbook, and spare key. This brings me onto my final point. Life passes by real fast, guys. Now, keeping in theme for staying young, don't forget your SPF and all that jazz. Obviously, keep taking lots of photos to upload to that crazy cloud of yours to remind you of those fun times. It's what we live for, those memories, right? Now, one thing I will say is I do wish I had a better mindset to wealth building growing up. So click here to see what I would do differently as a student. Back then I had part-time jobs, but I was spending what I earned on my lifestyle and traveling and not investing as much as I could have. And having a handle on just a few of those a little bit better would have been transformational. And the same applies as young adults as we progress through life. Same obstacles we face from the moment we've become independent stay with us. And so let's cover 5 bad habits to quash, and you can click here to find out what they are. See you there.